Yesterday, the Georgia Supreme Court made it official. Fulton County District Attorney Fani Willis will not be leading the high-profile election interference case against President Donald Trump. In a narrow 4-3 ruling, the justices declined to hear her appeal, leaving her disqualification in place over her past relationship with Special Prosecutor Nathan Wade. It is a ruling which drew strong reaction from President Trump.
Now, she should be prosecuted. What she did to people, forget about me, what Fani Willis did to innocent people, patriots that love our country, what she did to them by indicting them and destroying them, she should be put in jail. She's a criminal.
All right, so the case now shifts to a new prosecutor, raising some new questions about whether and how the cases and the charge will move forward. Let's take a deep dive into this ruling with Professor Jonathan Nash from Emory University School of Law. Welcome to you. Okay, so this has been big talk the last 24 hours or so. How unusual is it for a prosecutor to be disqualified in a case, especially one of this magnitude?
Well, cases of this magnitude are pretty uncommon to begin with, but yes, it is not common. It does happen. There are reasons that prosecutors can be taken off a case. Sometimes a prosecutor from the get-go will remove herself from a case to avoid something like this. But it is uncommon, and as you say, it's a big magnitude case. The eyes of the country are on this, not just Georgia.
Yeah, a lot of people watching this and have been for months now. So how does this ruling now from the Georgia Supreme Court potentially complicate the balance between law and politics, especially when you have a sitting president as the key defendant?
Well, you already had a complicated balancing between law and politics. There's no doubt about it, just given the nature of the case, even when Fani Willis was on the case. And now you have a situation where she no longer can handle the case. So the Georgia Prosecutor's Counsel, Peter Skandalakis, is the handling this. He's going to decide sort of which prosecutor, if any, is going to take over the case. So the issue is going to be, which prosecutor, if you're looking for someone who wants to take something like this on at this stage. And you have to recognize, if you're walking into this, no matter what you do, if you decide to drop the case, if you decide to pursue the case further, you're going to get, again, the eyes of the country on you, and a lot of people will be upset with you no matter what you choose to do.
Yeah.
It's fraught.
All right, so Jonathan, we know the decision was a 4-3 split. Not everyone agreed on this. What does that closer margin tell us about how divided the state's highest court was on this legal question of the appearance of impropriety?
Well, the court only decided really whether it would hear the case. So it's when justices opine in this setting, they're really deciding, they're setting forth their opinion on whether the case should be heard, not necessarily how the case should come out. That said, it's definitely a close vote. There were a couple of justices also who didn't participate, one of whom was on the Court of Appeals panel below that decided that Fani Willis should be recused, but he actually did vote the other way there. So it's definitely a divided state Supreme Court, but the bottom line is the 4-3 vote carries, and the Supreme Court will not hear the case, and that really shouldn't have an impact on any aspect of the case going forward.
Okay, well, speaking of moving forward, the next step is to appoint a new prosecutor, someone outside of Fulton County. How quickly could that process move forward, and do you expect a prosecutor to even want to take this case?
Well, like I said earlier, I'm not sure. Even, again, when the case was proceeding under Fani Willis, there were issues. You now have additional issues. Donald Trump is back in the White House, which raises questions about whether you can move forward now with him. It's possible you could drop him. A new prosecutor could drop him and proceed against the remaining defendants. But that's an issue. The Supreme Court, the U.S. Supreme Court, has also issued rulings on presidential immunity, which I think the president, if he stays in the case, would eventually litigate and say that the Georgia case could not be pursued against him. So the new prosecutor would have to consider whether you want to move forward with President Trump, whether you drop him from the case, whether it's worth proceeding with the case at all, given all these considerations. So I'll just say, I said before, it's fraught, and I'm not sure you'll find a prosecutor who wants to step up and move forward with this at this point. There's a lot of moving parts here, and it isn't clear that ultimate success will await you at the end of the day.
Yeah, that's a good
I
point.
don't know.
Professor Jonathan Nash, we always appreciate your perspective. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.